Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're diving straight into a checkout feature that is, literally everywhere right now. You know what I'm talking about, right? Whether we're shopping for clothes online or booking a flight, those bright little buttons offering to split our payments are just constantly popping up. So I decided to dig into the source material for today's explainer to uncover the mechanics, the psychology, and the hidden math behind this massive trend. Let's start with a tantalizing question to set the stage. What if I told you that you could walk out of a store with a brand new top-of-the-line iPhone today and not pay a single dollar up front? It sounds amazing, doesn't it? It feels kind of like magic. But, well, you know how it goes. Whenever money feels like magic, we really have to hit pause and ask the hard questions. Is this a brilliant smart money hack that we should all be leveraging? Or are we looking at a cleverly disguised debt trap just waiting to snap shut on our wallets? Okay, let's dive into this. What exactly are we looking at here? Buy now, pay later, which we'll just call BNPL for short, is basically a system that lets you grab an item today but pay for it later. Pretty self-explanatory. Instead of one painful lump sum leaving your checking account, the cost is sliced up into a few tiny, seemingly manageable installments spread out over a couple of weeks or months. On the surface, it sounds incredibly convenient. It's just a few easy pieces instead of one big hit. But we really need to question if this convenient-sounding setup is actually a good idea for your long-term financial health.
Let's look at the bright side first, because the perks are undeniably tempting. The absolute biggest draw? Zero friction. You get what you want right now. Plus, many of these plans offer literal 0% interest if you make your payments on time. That is essentially free money. And honestly, this can be an absolute lifesaver for true emergencies. If your refrigerator suddenly decides it wants to be a heater and you just don't have the cash on hand today, this system gives you that immediate breathing room.
And this brilliantly illustrates the delicate tightrope walk of buy now, pay later. On one side of the scale, you have that beautiful, highly advertised 0% interest. But, and this is a huge caveat, that strictly applies only if every single payment is made perfectly on time. On the exact opposite side of the scale, you've got late fees and credit hits. This right here is the catch. This is exactly how the system makes its money. The second you miss a payment, the terms completely change. You step off that safe path of 0% and fall straight into the territory of financial penalties.
And here is where that tightrope snaps. The hidden risks are actually pretty significant. If you miss a payment, you're hit with late fees, and sometimes retroactive interest. But on a much deeper psychological level, BNPL actively encourages impulse buying. It relies on frictionless spending. It artificially lowers the upfront cost and, well, tricks our brains into feeling like we aren't actually spending real money. Suddenly, you're juggling 10 different $15 a month charges for things you barely even use. That is going to completely unravel your monthly budget and potentially damage your long-term credit history.
To really grasp how this works, we need to step away from all these abstract pros and cons. Let's ground this in a real-world scenario to trace exactly how a single purchase can play out in everyday life.
I want you to imagine you're buying a $500 smartphone. It's a super common purchase, so it's perfectly suited for this example. Let's say your current phone is completely busted, you desperately need this new one, but you really don't want to part with $500 all at once today. So what do? You click the Buy Now and Pay Later option at the digital checkout. The sticker price of the item is exactly $500.
Let's move to the breakdown and see how this builds into two very different realities. The first is the ideal scenario. You make every single payment exactly on time. In this timeline, you pay exactly $500, not a single penny more. You beat the system. But look at the second reality. Let's say you miss just one payment because, life happens and you lost track of the due date. Boom. Suddenly, you're hit with late fees and high interest on the remaining balance. Very quickly, that $500 phone costs significantly more, and it's based entirely on your execution.
So looking at the data, the mechanics, and those potential outcomes, what's the final verdict? Well, here is the honest truth drawn straight from our source material for this explainer. Buy now, pay later isn't good or bad by itself. It depends on how you use it. It is completely impartial. It literally carries no moral weight whatsoever. It is simply a financial tool. Think of it kind of like a hammer, right? A hammer is fantastic for building a house, but it will absolutely smash your thumb if you aren't paying attention to where you swing it.
So the crucial point is self-awareness. You really have to know your own financial discipline. If you are highly organized and can guarantee on-time payments, this is a seriously useful tool to manage your cash flow. However, if you're using it as a crutch to buy things you can't actually afford right now, just hoping future you will magically have the money, actually, scratch that. Hoping doesn't work. If you do that, it transforms into a painfully quick way to accumulate expensive debt.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for you to reflect on today. Knowing the hidden mechanics, the psychological nudges, and the potential for sudden late fees, would you use Buy Now, Pay Later? Does this tool empower your budget, or does it endanger it? Keep that in mind the next time you're staring down a checkout screen. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it brought some clarity to your day, and I'll catch you next time for more insights.